The entertainment is over. There you go. Thank you all for joining this panel discussion. I have to say, I absolutely love panel discussions, partly because you never know what's going to happen next, as we just saw with jokes and dancing and everything like that, so you never know. But we've got some really amazing people here from amazing companies. Should I tell a little bit? Actually, I think maybe you guys should introduce yourself instead of me saying something. So do you want to say who you are, what company you're from?
No problem.
Okay, fab.
I'm Christine Warner, and I work for a company called Atos IT Services, a digital transformation company.
Hi, I'm Rachel Williams. I work for Welcome Break, the motorway service areas.
Yep. I'm Rakaya. I'm the reward manager at KP Snacks. So we do all the yummy snacks like Pom Bear, Skips, Discos. Who remember those?
Hi everyone, I'm Jessica. I'm the Corporate Communications Manager also from KP Snacks.
Fantastic. So you can see we've got different industries. Also, I think that you're all in different places when it comes to your benefits journey, which I think is really good, because what we're going to hear today is that there is no one way to actually do benefits. You know, we all might have similar challenges, but we all go about it in different ways. I thought as an icebreaker, just to get to know a little bit about people, I would ask you all to tell me, have you been thinking about this? What is your favorite benefit and why? So this is personally, not necessarily for your employees. So am I okay to start with you, Christina?
Yeah, no problem.
Yep.
It's definitely discount and shopping for me.
Do you like to shop, maybe?
Yeah,
just a little bit, yeah.
And it's even better when you get like a discount online and then suddenly you realize, oh, I can get another 5 or 10% off with my shopping.
I call those double debs.
Yeah.
Double debs. Yeah.
Definitely. It's a real feel-good. So yeah, discount and shopping.
And you can tell that Christine likes to shop because she said to me, oh, I like your jacket. I have it in black and red. I have black, she has red. There you go. Okay, fantastic. Rachel, how about you?
Cinema tickets for me.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Cinema tickets for me to go to the cinema,
Yep.
but also I've got 2 grown-up children, so I send them occasionally because they're still living at home to get a bit of me time. So, yeah.
Fantastic, good. Okay.
I'm the same as you, Christine, discounts. I'm not a big shopper, contrary to what my husband thinks. However, it really appeals to me because it's very convenient. You can access it anywhere, anytime, in-store, online, wherever you are. And I'm not one that spends time looking for a bargain. So to have it just there, it's amazing. And then when you log into the and you're like, oh, I've saved like £80 already. And it's like, it's great. It's just that feel-good factor that you were talking about.
It doesn't make much to make us smile, does it? Yeah. 5%, woohoo! Yeah, there we go. How about you, Jessica?
For me, it's flexible working. I think a lot of companies talk about it, but not everyone feels as comfortable taking people up on it. At KP, we really encourage people to kind of progress with that. We have what we call summer hours, so you work slightly longer Monday to Thursday, and you can finish at 2 o'clock on a Friday. And I think that is just a great bonus. So yeah, that's my favourite.
What I find interesting about you saying that that's your favorite benefit is that I can remember years ago where we wouldn't have considered that a benefit program. But more and more, I think benefits is getting a bit mixed and muddled in a good way, though, in that people are seeing that different things fit into this general category of what a benefit is. And actually, if you do surveys, you've all picked what most people say. When I've done surveys and spoken to people, they all want to have more time, more control over their time, and money. Everybody wants to be able to save money or manage their money, especially we're talking about the modern workforce. So you guys have picked up on some really good things. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw some questions out there. As I'm asking these questions, can you guys even see me? I am here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. As I'm asking these questions, maybe jot down if you got some other questions, because I'm going to do my best to save some time, because you've got this amazing panel of people who have some really great knowledge. I'm not as amazing, but I've worked in other companies, and I'll throw out some examples of what I've done as well, just to sort of balance it all out, okay? So let's start about your companies. Not everybody knows things about your companies. So tell us a little about your companies and your workforce. So I don't know which of you guys want to
okay. So our workforce is pretty diverse. We've got a good split, so 60 to 40 men, women. So there's nearly hitting the 50-50 mark there, so it's quite spread. But interestingly, in our workforce, we've got what we would probably class as an aging workforce. So we've got quite a breadth of ages. So we've got quite a significant portion of baby boomers, which is 25% of our organisation, and that's closely followed, which is the majority of our organisation, which is those who are in their 40s and 50s. Okay. So that's actually like sort of a good 60%. And then it's closely followed up by our millennials, and then the smaller portion is is the Gen Y, the sort of the new coming in. So it's quite a range of ages within our organisation. We have about 2,000 at KP at the moment. We've done a few acquisitions recently, so we've grown a lot in the last 3 years.
Right.
So that's been quite exciting. So yeah, that's sort of what our workforce looks like.
So from a challenge perspective, with the diversity, that causes challenges trying to get the right benefits for everyone.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly that. So it's, you know, it's like that you've got people at different stages in their life, whether they're getting married or having kids or just graduate from uni, so want to go out and party, or, you know, or ready for retirement. So, you know, it's about how do we get this portfolio of benefits that appeals to everybody, because that's going to be our workforce going forward, the breadth, because people are going to leave work later, but and also the new people are coming in earlier, because with vocational things, you don't always have to go to uni before you come into work. So, yeah.
Sort of like your products. Not everybody likes Palm Bears.
No.
I'm a cheese and onion girl, so
okay.
yeah, there you go. So
yeah, we've got, it's just, yeah, exactly. It's like our products. It's very diverse.
Yeah, definitely. How about you?
We're quite a complex business, I think. A lot of people will know motorway service areas or know Welcome Break, but actually don't understand necessarily the business. We've got 5,500 team members on 34 different sites. Ages from 16 to 81 is our oldest team member working, and part of the complexity of the business is that they don't wear Welcome Break uniforms, so our team members wear KFC uniforms, Burger King uniforms, Starbucks, Subway. So actually getting people to understand that they work for Welcome Break and not for the brands is quite complicated, because they see themselves as I work in KFC, not I work for Welcome Break. So that's our biggest, I suppose, challenge 7 years ago when we started on this journey.
And so if you think about it, then you could have someone who's working for KFC or McDonald's, and you give them benefits, but then they might know about McDonald's benefits. So does that get challenging also?
So yes, certainly when we first started working with KFC, they had their own benefits package with a different company. But because the guys that worked for us worked for Welcome Break and not KFC, they had to understand our benefits.
Right.
Because they weren't entitled as a franchisee to get the benefits through KFC. So getting that message over of you wear that uniform, but actually you work for Welcome Break has been our biggest challenge, but our biggest success as well. So.
Definitely. Okay, great. And Christine?
So similar in terms of age range, from like 17, 18 to 70 plus. The other diversity I guess we have is we've got, on the one hand, technical architects, data scientists, data analytic teams. On the other hand, we've healthcare practitioners, customer support agents. So we've got a real diversity in the type of people who work for us. But then also we've got people who are home-based, client-based, site-based, travelling just constantly and not aligned anywhere. So our challenge is around then reaching all those different pockets of people around the business.
Right, and that sounds like that's probably a common theme for all of you, because you don't have people who are necessarily all sitting behind a computer, or you know, you could bring them all together for a meeting or something like that.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Good, interesting. There was one really interesting statistic about Welcome Break, something about how many people go in just to use the toilet, or there's some really...
About 80% of people just go to
the okay, yeah. Don't know why I thought that was interesting, but there you go. Okay, great. So we're going to talk a little bit about benefits journey, and I'm sure all of us here are on some type of benefits journey. So whether you're designing your strategy for the first time or you're implementing new benefits, we're all in a journey. So maybe you guys could talk a little bit about, and then walk, what made you decide to go on the journey, and where are you? I'm going to start in the middle this time with you, Rachel.
So we've been on this journey a fair while, really. 7 years we've been working with Reward Gateway to provide our benefits, and it's been a journey over that whole 7 years. So I think 7 years ago we probably thought, well, we're going to put this in and we're going to give this to the team members, and it worked really well. And then a couple of years ago, 2 years ago now, we decided that actually what we're going to do is look at our whole benefits package, not just our discounts, everything that we offer. And what we did was we had fishbowl meetings. So we literally, the HR team went out and we just met with team members. No managers, just team members on every single site, and we had representatives there from all over. And basically we were just saying, how is it? What do you like and what don't you like? What benefits would you keep beyond all others, and which would you just go, actually, we don't use that. It was really interesting, some of the stuff that came out. So finance was huge. So people saying we want help with our finances, not necessarily loans, but just somebody that we can pick up the phone and talk to. And other benefits that we probably saw as being very important, private medical and that kind of thing, people were beginning to say, actually, you know what, it's not important to us anymore. There are other things that we'd rather have. So what we managed to do was really start again with a set of ideas that the team members wanted. And then the funny stories, so about 15 years ago, we used to provide transport for every team member into work. And there was a bus that came in at 7 o'clock and went home at 3 o'clock. We got rid of that about 15 years ago, and the team was still saying, we'd really like transport back. Because obviously, a motorway service, it's a bit inaccessible. You can't get there very easily. Certainly, you can't walk there. You've got to have a car and things like that. So we're having to say to people, actually, transport doesn't really work now because people are more flexible, so they don't come in at 7 and go home at 3. They come in at different times. But actually, we can do this to help you. So we introduced cycle to work. Because we said, actually, if you're finding it a struggle to get into work, then we need to start thinking about how we... Oh, obviously, they don't cycle down the motorway.
We're all picturing them going down the motorway.
Back entrances to both sites that they can get in. But that's worked really well. I think we've had sort of 100 or so people that have gone, not necessarily for the bikes, but the £30 bike that you can get... a bike for £30 that costs you £115 normally. People are doing that because they're sort of saying, we don't need a posh bike, we don't need to do one that's road cycling, we just need something to get into work at 7 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning. So it helped us look at what our team wanted, and before that we'd never done that. We'd just a set of managers go, yeah, we'll do this and we'll do that. But that made a real difference.
And I like what you said. Remember Kylie was telling the story about with Nike and how the person looked at the problem in a different way. It sounds like that's what you did with the bikes. Instead of just automatically saying, okay, well, instead of one bus that's going to come, we're going to have 6 buses. You took a step back and changed it. I want to come back to focus groups because I'm sure you all do focus groups, but we can talk more about that. Fantastic. Do you guys want to?
Yeah, and so our journey has been interesting because about 7 years ago, KP Snacks was actually part of United Biscuits, and we got acquired by Intersnack. So actually, the start of our journey was around just establishing ourselves as an organisation with our own culture and our own identity. And I joined in 2014, sort of supporting through that journey. But Reward itself was part of a HR business partner role at the time. So there wasn't that much focus. You can imagine a business partner role is huge. It's like to do both is quite weighty. So in around 2016, they decided we need some focused resource on this, and it's important to us as an organisation. So that's when I took on the Reward manager role. And really, the start was just around building the foundations, because we were quite a new organisation in terms of being separated out. So it's just it was literally about building the reward strategies, getting some key principles down, looking at stuff like grading, like a new grading structure and salary banding, looking at benchmarks, etc. So that actually we're in a place where we were applying our remuneration package in a fair and consistent way. Because sometimes that's really important to get right before you kind of go away and do the fancier stuff. Then we kind of went out and took feedback around what benefits matter to people, what's the trends that's happening outside in our industry, and kind of building our portfolio on that. But interestingly, one of the learnings was, okay, we did all this and we were like, oh, great, we're got an engagement survey, we got a fair deal score back, and it was like, oh, wasn't as good as we thought it was going to be, given that we've introduced all these different benefits. Yeah. And then actually we missed a key factor because I think one of you mentioned it, the most of the population is actually shop floor. So they're on the shop floor, they don't have access to computers. So how do they know, really, apart from the one road show that we do a year, what they have? They don't really understand it. It's not at the forefront of their minds. And it was all on this archaic intranet system as well. And you actually could only access it if you were on a work computer.
Right.
So you couldn't go home and jog onto your normal computer or get on an app or anything. So we're like, that's a huge missing link. Because people are like, oh, but we don't have this. And we're like, oh, well, actually we do. We offer it. They're like, well, how do they not know? Because we don't have that platform. Hence why we sort of launched KP for Me. So we put our efforts into that in the last year, and we're really proud to say that we've got a 98% registration rate there.
Fantastic.
But it's a journey. It was a real journey to get there. So we're in a great place, and now we're ready to move forward and onwards. So.
And sometimes making mistakes, I don't call them mistakes, learning moments.
Learning.
Having those learning moments can actually be a big difference. Because sometimes if it's too smooth, you don't realize what it's actually happening. So no, I don't see any problem with doing that at all, definitely. And did you do focus groups also then? Did you go out and talk to your people?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we absolutely did. But like, for example, before we launched KP for Me, we went to a couple of sites, we talked to them about what they wanted, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's important. There's no point doing something without really understanding what our employees want and the value of that.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, and how about you, Christine?
So we kind of embarked on ours for a couple of reasons. One was we'd had feedback that our benefits weren't as great. They'd become stagnant. So people had the same core benefits, like you mentioned, insurance, PMI, whatnot, for many years. So we wanted to look at what was happening in the marketplace, but was that just a passing trend, or was it something that was genuinely going to contribute to our employees, and was it right for our company to adopt that trend? But also we were using an in-house tool, a bit like you were saying, a bit archaic. We were a digital transformation company. We were relaunching ourselves, but we were using tools that didn't match what we were offering our customers. So for us, it was important that the employee experience was similar to what they were giving our clients' customers. So that kind of got us started on our journey. And then our challenges, I guess, with that was how we reach this wide range of people across the business. And whilst we did use a couple of focus groups, we actually tapped in more to some of our networks. So we've got really strong diversity networks. So we used a lot of them because they've got every mix of occupation, age, race, background in those groups, and actually gathered feedback through leads and whatnot, and got their involvement in it, and in the design and the development of our program as well. And that helped us get a good steer about what did our employees want, what did we think was right for the business as well as then moving it. So it was kind of partially driven by the employee experience and partially by wanting to reflect the type of company that we are.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting how you are right. So often what we do is we give our customers so much and we forget about our employees. And actually, my previous job before I went out on my own is I was head of reward at Reward Gateway. And one of the first projects that I did when I joined the company was similar to what you all are talking about. So I did a global benefits review because I felt that I wanted my employees to have the most amazing benefits compared to what they were giving to their clients. I thought I needed to take care of them also. And similar to you guys, I started with focus groups. I did cake and chat because having cake, all of a sudden everybody wanted to show up for it. And I started with my strategy, and I came up with 5 benefit principles. How many people have a benefits strategy? So this is what your benefit programs. Okay, do you want me to tell you my benefits principles, and you can have any of them that you'd like? So it's 5 principles. Now keep in mind, it aligns with Reward Gateway's culture and values. You guys can tell me how similar it is to yours. I'm giving you time to think about, share what yours are. So there are 5. The first one is fairness. So as a global company, I wanted to be fair, and if I wasn't fair, I could explain it. So if someone grabbed me and said, Deb, please explain to me why I'm getting something or I'm not getting something in someone else's, I could explain it. Second one, I should quiz you guys and see if you guys know it. The next one is balance, which is all about what you guys are talking about. With such a diverse workforce, I wanted to have balanced programs. And the geek that I am, I even came up with 5 categories to make sure I didn't miss anything. Next one was choice. Gone are the days where me sitting in my little office, well, we don't do offices, open plan, would decide what people wanted. I tried to put choice into every single benefit program I had. The next one was wow, which is what you talked about. So at Reward Gateway, if you're a client, you know you get wow moments. I wanted my benefits to give wow moments to my employees. And then the last one might be quite simple, but it's easy. And I put that in because I thought that a lot of the reasons why people didn't use their benefits or they didn't appreciate them is I made it too difficult for them, and I wanted to make it easy. So those are my 5. That's my gift to all of you guys for your strategy. What kind of strategies, either written or unwritten, do you have that guide you on your journey? I didn't have that as a question, so you're all looking at me like, oh no. Yeah.
Well, I think, so fairness and flexibility is a big one for us. So fairness, it doesn't matter whether you're an exec or you're a grad who's just walked in the door, there's the same range of benefits available and the same choice. And then flexibility, because we've such a diverse workforce and people have different needs. And I don't even think you can categorize them out, the millenniums want this and,
Yeah.
you know, the boomers want this, because actually, you know, I'm not a millennial, but I want discounted shopping,
Yeah.
I want to travel, but yes, I want my PMI as well. So that was part of it. And then it was really around employee experience, so making it easy for them to understand what was available. And that was our challenge in the past.
Yeah.
I don't think people really understood what they had and how good the package is that's available for them.
Yeah, definitely. Fairness is an interesting one. So we came up with fairness, and then right or wrong, what I did is I changed the holiday entitlement. So does anybody have holiday entitlement that increases by years of service?
Used to.
See, but if you have fairness as a principle,
got rid of it.
you can't do that. So why should, if I just join the company, why should I get less days than you know, and fairness. So if you're gonna have these principles, you need to live by them.
Yeah, and we changed ours, we used to, but now it's not everybody is on the same, not TUPE arrangements clearly, but aside from TUPE, people all start on the same terms and conditions.
Right.
We had the same challenge actually with fairness. So we thought about that when we looked at our reward strategy and the wording. And to be honest, it's strictly speaking, you're right, you can't do one thing or another and say that it's fair. So we chose to use the word consistent.
Okay.
So you know that our benefits are applied consistently and across the board. So that was one of ours. Choice was also something else that we that resonates with us as well. But actually for us, our keys, some of the key bits of our strategy resonate with the overall business strategy. So it's about, so our business strategy has 4 quadrants. And one of them is around sustainability, and it talks about doing the right thing for generations to come, or actually doing the responsible thing for, or being responsible for generations to come. And that's kind of what we wanted to pull out into our reward strategy, but for our people. So it's not just about everybody, but it's actually looking after your own people as well. And so that was really important for us. So everything that we do really has to be about being responsible for those generations to come. So that links really nicely with another strand, which is around making it family friendly. So a family is a big part. We want to make people feel like they're part of a KP family, but it's not just about them, it's about their family as well. So a lot of our benefits kind of strategies around that. And the other thing for us was around making your money go further, because we have a large population of lower earners. So that bit is so important for us. So that's the other additional strand that we have in our sort of benefit strategy as well.
Yeah, and I love what you're doing, because that really is a starting point. You need to start with what your business strategy is, and then using the same terminology. I think it shows people that, you know, we treat our people the same way that we're running our business. So
exactly,
definitely. Okay.
For us, it was about ease and allowing our team members that were mostly on national minimum wage to make their wages go further. And I think for us as well, we started with two key words that we had to check every time we introduced anything was, is this going to attract people to Welcome Break? And is it going to retain them? So if you answer those 2 questions with a yes, then you go, actually, those 2 things will make a huge difference to Welcome Break. So that was what we looked at, really.
And I think the good thing about what everyone is saying when it comes to these principles or these strategies is that then they're your guideposts to help you decide for your benefits. So you guys can think if you have any examples of these. So when we came up with the benefits strategy at Reward Gateway, I had to get rid of one of their favorite benefits. And the reason I did is it did not align with any of the 5 principles. You think you guys did forgive me, but it was a lottery. It was a staff lottery, which was put in place when the company was small, but it really didn't align with fairness, choice, balance, anything like that. Each month people could win money. But because we had a strategy, I could come in and say, if you can tell me how that aligns with any of our new 5 principles, I'll let you know. But if not, I'm going to change it. Similar to what sounds like what you did with fairness and how you changed, you know, the holiday program.
Yeah.
Definitely. Anybody else make any drastic changes based off of, I'm the only bad guy. Actually, I got rid of their 2 favorite benefits, but only one a day I'll tell you about. So yeah, there you go.
We did have to reduce our income protection because it was quite a high level and it was unended. And we were actually struggling to get insured in the marketplace. So as a result of that, we did have to curb it. So we still feel it was very generous. It's 6 to 7% for up to 5 years.
That is.
So still generous, but not as generous as what it was. So when we changed that, that was a huge impact for people, even though most of them never ever claimed it. It was the fact that something they might one day claim was changing.
The psychological.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's why it was really important then to bring in things like the discounted shopping, cycle to work, to say, we're taking away here, but we're giving you here.
Right.
So we're balancing this out and making it more affordable for the company, but giving you other things in return. So that was our way of kind of handling it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we had a similar thing with pensions as well, but it all came around with affordability. So people are living longer, that this so and all these kind of different things. So we had to make a decision as a company to obviously have an effective pension scheme. We did have to sort of reduce the benefit a little bit.
Yeah, which is a good segue into communications, because when you have to share bad news to employees, it all comes back to communications and how you communicate it. So both of you have examples of taking something away. How did you communicate that in an engaging way? So that, we're all making pension changes. So I remember at Morrison's when I had to change their pension scheme, that was a tough one too. Yeah. What did you were just honest and let people know?
I think for us, we didn't change any existing ones. So we red-ringed everybody on existing. So it was only for new people that came in. So it wasn't as tough as a message in terms of taking something away. That doesn't really go with our principle, or we try not to let it go with our principles. But so for us, that was quite simple and straightforward. So it was just change for new people.
Yeah.
I think for us it was absolute transparency, being upfront, this is what we're going to do and why.
Yeah.
But then we also did talk about, with people, we'll try and come up with other suggestions. And we reached a point with people where we agreed that we would, give a long lead-in period before it changed, and that the people who were already on that benefit, they wouldn't be impacted for 12 months, so that they at least had time to adjust. So we took on board the feedback that we got from employees as part of the consultation and made some adjustments along the way. So it made it slightly more palatable to make the change.
Yeah.
For us, it was just about being completely honest with people and explaining. So for us, we probably did the one that you wouldn't ever do if you were choosing to take a benefit away. All of our team, until about 5 or 6 years ago, had free food. Every single team member, when they were on shift, had free food. And it became just far too expensive. And so, we had to sit everybody down and talk to them about the fact that we were going to make them start buying their food at work with a huge subsidy still. So they get 70% off or 50% off depending on the brand. So still get a big saving. But it was just about saying, this is how much it costs. And we can't afford to keep doing all of this, because people were coming in and having breakfast and lunch, and then, so we could have cut it down and we could have said, no, you only have one meal, but actually it was better to say, you can eat what you want, but you'll pay a small percentage of what you eat. So
it's treating them like adults and telling them the entire story about things. Yeah, I've worked for companies. My nieces and nephews work in San Francisco, those companies where you get all the free food. And I was appalled. They left the building stuffing food in their backpacks. They're like, this is my dinner. Why am I paying for their dinner?
Or they get a great big plate full of dinner.
Exactly.
Go to the tea room and then don't eat any of it.
Yeah.
At least if you're paying something towards it.
Yeah.
You're paying for it. And it's always the one thing that everybody says, if you've got free food, don't touch free food, because it's the one thing that people really like to have as a benefit.
Yeah.
But, we've still got a few people that have been with us all that time that go, it'd be really good if we had free food. But the new starters that join us go, 70% off KFC? No, that's amazing.
Yeah. And you know what? You have to remember that. You mentioned that your new people are going to get a different pension. Sometimes it's really hard to get rid of benefits. We all know that. We think everyone's going to hate us for it. But if it's done for the right reasons and you do it in a respectful way, it's our responsibility to do it. I know that when I communicate to people about benefits, it's like, I'm going to review them every year, not every 3 or 5 years, that, benefits might not be for life anymore. Dogs are for life, but not benefits. That could be a new post sticker on the back of the car. There you go. Okay, let's move on here. Communications. Can you guys talk about how you leverage communications technology to speak to your employees? I know that Sevi was just talking about communications being one of the biggest challenges when it comes to benefits. How have you started to overcome that at your companies? Am I going to look for this?
So we launched our new reward and recognition plan in June last year. And with that just came some amazing new tech that we had never experienced before, as kind of Rakaya mentioned about our archaic intranet that we used to host our benefits solution with. So it's got some great new tech, including obviously being accessible on any device. I think that's the kind of way that people are moving or consuming content these days, is just having it, whether it's on your mobile phone, your laptop, your desktop, and just being constantly on, which isn't always a good thing. But I think there is that kind of blur between work and personal. I'm sure a lot of us here have got your kind of work email installed on your phone as well, so that you are, you can kind of dip in and out. So we kind of leveraged that, and with that kind of came segmentation as well. So we're able to offer a really tailored experience to our broad range of audience, so that their benefits that are on offer are kind of specific to them, and it just kind of cuts out the wallpaper and just kind of it kind of drives engagement in that way. So we've kind of used that as a majority, and then that's kind of followed up with, we use Gmail, so we use Google Hangouts on a daily basis across our UK sites. We've also installed site communal shared tablet devices into kind of communal office space for our factory colleagues who aren't allowed mobile phones on the factory floor. That's 75% of our business. It just kind of brings them closer to the business, and so that they're kind of feeling more engaged with it as well. So we've used a variety of kind of different techniques, and that's all kind of supplemented with our other internal comms channels as well.
So Jessica, you're our communications expert. Not that we're not all experts, but we're rewards people. Even though my first book is on communication, we are communications too. But what advice do you have then for all of us, as far as you're doing all these different things? How do you decide which is the 1, 2, 3 thing that's really gonna work at your company?
I think it's a tough one, because obviously there's different audiences that have different way that they consume content. A bit like at the moment, looking through social media, everybody scrolls. And I think that's the way that people consume content now. It's just to make sure that it's kind of bite-size, kind of your key messages are at the top, make it short and sweet.
Yep.
And people don't read reams of text anymore.
Yep.
So I think it's just kind of getting it across and choosing your channels appropriately. We've got digital screens in all of our sites, more as a kind of signpost visual to direct people for more information to the reward and recognition platform, which also has a comms bolt-on, which I love. So it's kind of using different channels for different things, because you're not going to have everyone that likes one way.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of appealing to as many people as you can, using your channels to the best that you can.
Definitely. Good. Great.
Yeah.
How about you, Rachel?
Yeah, we're slightly different in that we don't use the reward gateway communication. So we have Success Factors, which has a social media side to it, so that people can communicate to each other on different sites. I think that's the one thing for me that's made the company a lot smaller. Before, you were based in Leicester and you only spoke to Leicester people, whereas now people will talk to people. And what we tend to do on our Jam group is to so Joe, who works for me this week, has put on a post about Valentine's Day and all of the discounts that are available on Valentine's Day, and people will go and comment and say, oh, I've bought this or I've done this. So that works really well for us, getting out there and showing people the discounts on that group. I think the other thing that's really helped communication for us is the instant awards that we now do, because that's getting people that wouldn't necessarily have gone on it to get a discount before and now getting their reward on there. So they're in there and they're going, I didn't realise it got cinema tickets, or I didn't know it got that. So that's helped communicate that massively.
I like what you said about communications makes the world smaller.
Absolutely.
I never really looked at it that way, but you are right. All of a sudden, you're just a click away or a post or a tag away.
Something could happen in Leicester that nobody else would find out. And now it's like, well, we're sharing that with other sites. And people are talking, night shift especially, we find are on there talking to each other on a night shift. Because who else is there to talk to when you're working on a night shift in a service area? So,
And I think especially for the younger generation, I asked my daughter, who is 18, the other day, she wanted to borrow my mobile because hers is broken, to use the landline. She looked at me like I was, she goes, I would never touch that thing. It's so old, a landline. But anyway, so we need to bring it to them if they're going to actually engage with it, so definitely.
For us, we use the technology in regards to comms to look at data. So it's a good way of being able to see who's logging in, who's not, what divisions maybe they're not engaging as much. And then we know to target our comms a bit more. So for example, last year we acquired about 700 people through a GP. This will be their first benefit renewal round. So we're going to use the comms tool, which is the segmentation piece, to be able to give them an individual email that others won't get. So it's tailored to, you're doing this for the first time, whereas everybody else who's familiar with it will get a maybe shorter version of how to log on, what they need to do as a reminder. But it also, tells us who's not engaging and where we might need to go and spend a bit more time and attention. But I would also say, just with the technology, which is great, it's easy to forget the other channels. And for example, we have people who might be on long-term sick, maternity leave, career breaks. And actually for them, it is back to, we might do a little postcard in the post saying, this is happening. If you want to know more, call this number, and you can learn about it. So it's brilliant. It helps us so much, technology, but sometimes you have to remember the basics and not exclude any populations by using it as well.
Yeah, and I think your point about data is really good also, because Sevi was getting me all excited with all the new data that the system's going to be able to do. But it's what do we do with that data? So, the fact that you're taking the data, you're using it for segmentation, you're using it to analyze it. I think it's up to us to use all that powerful data and do something with it, definitely.
Yeah.
Anybody have any examples of how you're using the data to help you either in communications or designing your benefit programs?
We present data to our managers. What Sevi was saying, it was like, wow, they're now in graphs, whereas before it was just numbers. So myself and the other people business partners will present it to the managers every month to show them where their instant awards have gone, but also how many people they've got registered, what the spend is on the site. So we do a lot of that because managers won't know that otherwise.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. We only just launched ours 6 months ago, so we're quite new in, but we're take us some time. But I was upstairs and I saw the data analytics section. And I was like, oh, that's exactly what we need. So we're definitely going to go down that avenue very soon in terms of really like honing down and getting into sort of more functional or site-based data that you can take to the managers. But since we've just launched, our focus really has been around, let's see how much people can get registered on, which we have, and we're really proud of getting that 98%. But it's one thing to have people registered, it's another thing to have active users. So that's, we're really focusing on those figures in 2020 to really get people using the system, because otherwise all that good work will just be flushed down the toilet, because you'll just get people on it and then never using it. And so the value just disappears. So we're using the data to just basically drive us in terms of helping us understand the value to employees and how we can make it valuable to employees. So like looking at active users would be our next step in terms of focus for data. So
I think it's important to strip down what does the data mean. I agree completely. I remember I worked at a company and I was looking, and to your point, everyone in the office had registered for the discounts, but then nobody was using it. And when I remember it was the Southampton office. I went to the Southampton office and nobody was using it because one person in the office said that there was nothing worth getting a discount on. So I spent the whole day just going, ooh, the whole day, just like spying things. My husband didn't like that. And by the end of the day, everyone was so engaged. So sometimes it's looking at that data and then thinking, what are you going to do to turn it around? We've got 5 more minutes. Does anybody have a burning question, or should I continue? You okay for me to continue? Okay. One of the challenges that we all have is getting approval for things, leadership buy-in when we want to do something new. What's your tricks? What advice do you have for people on how you've been able to convince your leadership team, especially your CFO, to come forward with some of the money for these?
For me, it was talking about retention and attraction. So actually, we can reduce the recruitment budget by whatever amount. We can increase the stability of our team members so that our people are more trained, less trainees. And obviously we had to make sure that happened, which we did. And, now you go and say, actually, retention, attraction, and all of those things. There was a lot of money to be saved at that point in those things. So we just reinvested it and said, right, back us, do what we want to do, and we will make sure that this happens. And it was always going to happen. People were happier to stay. And that was us.
So data on the front end and then data in the back end also. And
Absolutely.
then the CFO's eyes just sparkle. Yeah. Definitely. Okay.
We with the CFO, we use data as well, but we were looking at like how long does it roughly take people to register for their benefits on the old platform, and it was quite time consuming. And even we worked out if we had, say, I don't know, we've got 8,500 people in our business, so let's say we had 6,000 who were revenue generating. If they were all to save half an hour each year just logging onto their benefits, how much time that was saving, how much additional revenue that was potentially bringing in. And so it's quite hypothetical because you are making assumptions, but it gets their attention, so that certainly helped. But we also, sometimes it's opportunity as well, because I remember when we brought in our virtual GP, the business case was around, well, the quicker they can get to a doctor, the quicker they can get their health restored, the quicker they're back at work or avoid being off at work. Again, it was assumptions about how much our absence might reduce. But at the time, unfortunately for him, but fortunately for me, our CEO wasn't feeling well. And I got him a free service so he could try it. And he rang up and he rang the line, got immediately to a doctor, thought, wow, this is the best service I've ever experienced. Normally he'd have to wait longer to get into his own GP. So managing to get him a free instant trial when he most needed it was quite an opportunity, and that was it. He was, sold on it. So we had the business case there, but that little extra opportunity just pushed it over the edge for us.
So I don't want you all to give your CEOs the flu, but I do think you have a point about having them understand the importance. Funnily enough, I was getting ready to put Reward Gateway in a previous company. I don't think I ever told you guys this, but like a week before the launch, my CEO said, no, we're not doing this because nobody shops online. His wife does all the shopping for him. So I basically brought 50 people into a room and said, can you please tell the CEO how you shop? So I didn't make him sick, but the same thing. I made him feel, I like the flu, yeah. Great. Okay. How about you guys, anything?
So obviously data is important, but the key thing for me, particularly with an organisation like KP, is around getting buy-in for your reward strategy really early on. So we've got a comp and bends committee, which consists of the CFO, CEO, and the HR director. And so the start of the year, or even the year before, towards the end of the year before, I look at the business strategy because it's about ready to go, and then I connect in the reward in there, and we're very lucky that the mindset of the exec team, they get people, making sure that our people are valued, not only them, their families, and what a difference they can make. And in fact, one of our strategy wheels is around engage people, make a difference. So they get the value of that, and they get the fact that not everything necessarily has a direct, tangible return on investment figure to it.
Right.
Sometimes the ones that don't are the more powerful ones. So we're very lucky that the mindset is there already, but it doesn't mean that we can get away with not doing the work up front. So then I look at the reward strategy, get it connected in. So, like I was mentioning earlier about being responsible for generations to come, about engaged employees, I've sort of replicated the 4-quadrant approach and had benefits, recognition, L&D, which we have another team for, and pay as part of our
connect the dots.
Yeah, connect the dots. So, they can kind of see that similarity. And I get that buy-in right early on from the comp committee. So they agree that these are our principles that we're going to work with. And then everything else that we do, whatever benefits that we launch for the rest of the year, has to, like you said, connect in with that look, the feel, the value, the principle that comes all along with it. And so that makes that transition easier and their buy-in easier because they can see the dots all connecting and therefore the value that it's adding.
Yeah, no, perfect. I think we have to wind down, so I'm going to ask you guys for one final tip. So we've got this modern workforce, we've got the challenges of everything happening around us. Is there anything that you've done that you'd like to share as final words of wisdom? No pressure. You've already given us tons of gems, but...
I think for me it is linking in with strategy, like you say. We're looking at where our benefits are evolving now. We've got a big focus on our LGBT plus community, and we've just become like top 40 in the Stonewall list, so that was quite a big deal for us. So we're tying it in with that to look at our benefits and looking at things like our PMI and can we extend it to help people, support people through transgender operations, for example. You know, and it's a long conversation with our providers to try and influence them, but I think the more they keep hearing us coming back with the same requests. So for us, it's whatever we're trying to evolve in our benefits, linking it into the wider strategy, and it's not necessarily just the HR, the business strategy.
Yeah, perfect. Great.
Very, very simple. Just talk to your people and listen to what they're saying.
It is basic, but we sometimes don't take the time to do it. So yeah, no, definitely.
I think for me, it's like, don't be afraid to make mistakes, because in fact, mistakes can be sometimes valuable than getting it right, as long as you take those learnings and apply it. And for me, that 98% registration and the way we sort of ran the KP for Me, which is our reward platform campaign, was a combination of the learnings that I've taken in my career and shared learnings that we've come. And that format of having this sort of multi-dynamic approach to sort of how we addressed our comms and how we did more targeted support for those to help them register, how we made it fun, and how and to you we got also a cross section of our colleagues. We didn't make it a HR initiative, we made it a business initiative. We got a group of people which what we call our values and behaviours champions that are a cross section of the whole business. You know, you work from different roles to different sites to different functions to go out there and roll this out. And that was the magic that we kind of learned from over the years, and I think attributed to the success of what we had today. So, or never be afraid to make mistakes, is probably what I would say.
And Jessica?
I think mine's actually similar to Rachel's. Kind of listen to your audience. I think always think, kind of put yourself in their shoes, and just think, what's in it for me? Just, I think from a comms point of view, always thinking about raising awareness. You can raise awareness about anything, but you know, what's the call to action? What do you want people to get from it? And then just using that to kind of move forward.
Perfect, great. The only other one I'd throw in just to round it all out is it's important for all of us, and you sort of started talking about it, is to stay current with everything happening around us and to just always have that sort of benefits filter. So how is that going to impact me from a benefits perspective? So for example, I had a conversation with someone recently who Brexit is going to be a huge impact to her employees. And we talked about what can we do to maybe get them some loans or get them some education. So stay aware of what the needs of are your employees and think about how we can support them from a benefits perspective. But I think we are out of time. Yes, I thought you guys were brilliant. What'd you guys think? Amazing.